What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Look at that! I actually managed to unmute the microphone the first time this time. This is progress. Oh boy! So what's been happening in the last week? Wow, it's been an eventful one. Honestly, it has been an eventful one. I want to first off actually talk about um a story that really kind of like disturbed me in a really big way. Um, and when we're kind of talking about this idea of oh, like, would a woman rather be in the woods with like a man or with a bear, right? Like, it's sort of along that type of topic, that type of conversation. So basically what happened was this woman in France, by the name of I know that her first name is Giselle. I'm blanking on her second name. But she is 71 years of age. And her husband, who is 70. Um, so they've obviously been married for quite some time, and this and that, the other thing, and they were after a while, she had kind of said, I'm not really kind of feeling quite right, just in my body and in myself and everything else. And she had said that, that like she's feeling very groggy and stuff like that in the mornings. Um, and then her husband, again, 70-year-old man, was out there and was out on the kind of streets of France, and he was arrested for upskirting. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the term, fucking congratulations. But unfortunately, what the term is and what the action is you are basically kind of filming or taking photos up the skirt of a woman, right? And in the the like process of the investigation and everything else, obviously for obvious reasons, the phone was confiscated and all this sort of stuff, right? And in that, in the like, course of the investigation, it was found that her husband had allowed in excess of more than 65 people access into the home, and after he had drugged Giselle, his own wife, he allowed more than 65 people to sexually assault his own wife. They apparently, according to the reports, they are ranging from ages from 21 right up to kind of mid 50s and possibly even older. They have so far identified 52 of the of the men in these sorry, yes, of course, I oh my god, silly me, I skipped over the most important part. He filmed all of them and he kept them. So when they were looking over the photos of him, taking photos up the skirt of people who were going around the like streets of France, they found, I don't, a folder maybe, or even just 62 video files, more than that, than 65 videos of different men sexually assaulting the same woman over and over and over and over and over again. So if he hadn't have done that, who knows how many more people would have done this, and who knows how many more people, how many more times this would have happened. And I mean, like, this is not a stranger. This is not, you know, a friend. This is her husband. Um, he is by far one of the most vile human beings that I can even. I mean, this is like comic book villain level of fucking, like, it just doesn't even bear thinking about. It literally doesn't even bear thinking about. Um, yeah. Now, this woman is. Oh my god. I mean, I'm genuinely. I'm in awe of her. She has. waived her right to anonymity, which means that this court case can and will be televised. And all of the offenders related to this case will be on camera for the entire country, nay, the entire world to see. I think that it is unimaginably brave of her to do that. And when she was questioned about why she waived her right to anonymity, she said she said the reason that she did it is because that's what her abusers wanted her to do, or that's what they wouldn't want her to do. Sorry, is to stay silent, to stay out of the media, to keep this as quiet as it possibly can be, and so that their faces are plastered everywhere. I think that she is I think that she is genuinely an inspiration. She is an inspiration. You know, we've talked about it's just a flurry of just dangerously evil men. Genuinely, we have. We as a channel, me as just a person in general day-to-day conversation, have talked about this. And you know the things that women have to deal with on a day-to-day basis is already bad enough. But you think that, if something like, if you get catcalled in work, or if you get kind of flirted with when you don't want to be, or if you're touched when you don't want to be, if you're in a club and someone touches you and you don't want them to touch you, you think that that's already bad enough. And you think that the place that you can go back to get away from all of that and to feel the safest is your own home. Now imagine that, and imagine the home that you share with the person that you have been married to for God knows how long. This woman is in her 70s, so I mean, it's not as if it's only five years. This is probably a long time, decades, in fact. You think about going back to that home and that happening to you. It's unspeakably awful. I mean, it is unimaginably just horrific. But yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about that and to kind of bring attention to it, because I don't see an awful lot of people. I've seen some people on like Twitter and TikTok and stuff like that talking about it, but it's not as much people as you would maybe kind of hope would be talking about it, because I mean, like, this is such an unbelievably large case. And I think that more people deserve to know about it and should be talking about it. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. In other kind of somewhat kind of related to YouTube news, this is man, I did not have this on this year's bingo card. I genuinely didn't. However, it has come out that a number of very kind of popular political streamers and YouTubers and all this sort of stuff have been quite literally paid by Russia to spread their disinformation, to spread lies about the US, about Ukraine, about a flurry of other issues. And it, I mean, it makes sense in a way. It makes sense in a way. It's kind of, there's been a number of okay, so two of the most prominent ones, two of the names that I think pretty much everybody is going to know if you're at all interested, or if you at all kind of follow politics on YouTube, especially. Two people's names that you would absolutely know are Dave Rubin and Tim Pool. So Dave Rubin kind of most famously got his start on TYT, then did his whole kind of "no, I've left the left" thing. And so people started kind of like throwing money at him, being like, "Can you please say how our party is so much better? And you're an insight man, so you would know." And blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just all a grift, right? It's all a grift. It's all kind of like, what can I do to get the most money, the most quick, without the least amount of effort? I mean, like that's all it is. It's just a grift. But it's very much kind of, how do you even kind of fuck it? Yeah, it just puts an awful lot of kind of stuff that, especially Tim Pool, actually in the last little while, has said. It puts an awful lot of that stuff into context. It genuinely does. Like he said that like Ukraine is like the enemy of the United States. And just like really like weird and wacky comments like this. I mean, like everybody, pretty much everybody is in pretty much unilateral agreement that what's happening in Ukraine right now is not like that shouldn't be happening, and it's not okay. There are some, some smaller outliers there that are genuinely in the defense of Russia, but I mean, like, really, man, really. Um, what baffles me is that the same people who are so on the side of Ukraine are the exact ones who are sharing that same amount of passion against what's happening in Ukraine and then defending Israel when it's pretty much the exact same fucking thing is happening. Can I just point out there's an awful lot of parallels there. Um, but anyway, yeah, like it's fucking wacky, man. And like look, honestly, like you see some of these kind of like right wingers come up and get like gain prominence and gain a following and stuff like that on YouTube, and you see an awful lot of what they're doing. I don't even know why I had those in. Sorry, I'm not actually listening to it. I will be later, but I'm not now, so I don't know why I had those in. But anyway, um, yeah, like you see an awful lot of these people kind of coming up and they're rising. They come out of absolutely nowhere. You look at their channel, data and analytics and stuff like that, and they uploaded their first video like 6 months ago, and yet they've got like a fucking DSLR camera, a top of the line PC, a fucking 5 monitor setup, and they've got like this like super expensive fucking mic and all the gadgets and all the tech and stuff like that around them. Like, look, I'm not gonna lie to you, lads. I've spent an awful lot of money on my personal setup. I started my channel a decade ago. Like, I'm not like this is over a long time that I've built the setup that I have. So like it's just getting off like fucking money and stuff like that thrown at him, man. There's so much money on the right. There is so much money on the right. It's unbelievable, you know. Um, so yeah, no, it's just kind of particularly kind of wacky to me that this is still kind of like happening and stuff like that. And I mean, like Tim Pool, like he has his own, like, I don't know if you would call it a mansion. I've been told, I've like according to people who have been to his house, it's a very large fucking house. He has an underground skate park. Like he has his own dedicated studio that's like affixed to the property. Like that stuff's not fucking cheap, man. Like he has an awful lot of money behind him. He has a shit ton of money behind him. So, I just think that like when you're kind of looking at all of that, and then the deal that he went through with Russia and the organization that was paying him through Russia, the deal. So the sign up bonus was 100,000. They got paid 100,000 per week. And then there was like some like extra viewership royalties or something along those lines. So minimum. This is not even including the sign up bonus. Minimum, they were looking at getting paid $400,000 per week. Per week. And I mean, like this, like when does 400,000 dollars a week? And like we're supposed to just believe that this is that there's just no fucking corruption, and there's just no like there's nothing to look at here. It's fine. Everything is normal. Really? 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 Um yeah, so like those are obviously the two kind of like smaller um news things that have kind of happened this week anyway, so far as what I've kind of seen. Um, However, I think that the most wow, the most the biggest news story that's happened this week has been this. There was a shooting, another school shooting in the US, this time out of Georgia. And the details of this story, I'm not going to lie to you, lads, like it's horrific. You know, it is genuinely horrific. Not only just because it's a school shooter, right? That would obviously give a cause and grounds enough to be horrific, right? Or for you to class it as horrific. Let's just look first, right? Let's just look first at what Donald Trump's running mate said about the case, said about the story of the shooting in Georgia. Let's just look at what he said about this first, okay?
A political war of words breaking out overnight after Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance weighed in on the Georgia school shooting.
The Kamala Harris answer to this is to take law-abiding American citizens' guns away from them. Clearly, strict gun laws is not the thing that is going to solve this problem. I don't like that this is a fact of life. But if you are a psycho and you want to make headlines, you realize that our schools are soft targets. And we have got to bolster security at our schools.
Vice President Harris focusing on the fact of life comment, writing, "School shootings are not just a fact of life. It doesn't have to be this way."
He said that school shootings are a fact of life. He said that school shootings are a fact of life, man. That is the biggest and the most obvious and the most egregiously horrible, horrific thing to say in the wake of a school shooting. Genuinely. And yes, Savage, yeah, it is absolutely terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying that a current candidate for vice president under Donald Trump has said that school shootings are just a fact of life. Because, look, I don't normally get so kind of impassioned and stuff like that about an awful lot of topics. This is definitely one of them. I'm just full disclosure, I'm not a parent. I don't have any kids or anything else like that. However, you don't have to be to look at this situation and empathize. You don't have to be a parent to look at a news story of somebody going into a school where children are in there to learn and to make friends and to have fun at break times, and kill a bunch of children. It's children, man. And to wave this away is just simply just a fact of life. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. It is a fact of American life. Maybe. That's as much as I will grant you. Because it's not a fact of life here. It's not a fact of life in any other country on the planet. It is something that only happens in the United States. I started school when I was 5 years old, and I left about a few weeks before my 19th birthday. So round that down to 18, and I was in school, 13 years? Never once, not even once, did I have a single drill about what you need to do if someone comes into the school with a gun. Not once did I have to put like the innards of a bulletproof vest into the back of my school bag, so that if I got shot from behind, at least it was gonna land in the fucking Kevlar strip. I never once had to fucking take it off very, very quickly and put it in front of my chest in case I was shot from the front. I never once had to hide in a bathroom and pray that that's one of the places that they didn't go into. I never once had to walk through a metal detector when I was walking into the front gates of my school. I never once had to do any of the things that on a regular basis, literally millions of American children are doing on, I'd imagine at this stage, about a fucking monthly basis, if not more often than that. And the solutions that the people on the right are talking about is, well, we'll give the teachers guns. Remember when we had that particular fucking tidbit from old Donald? Or when we had the bit of, oh, well, we'll just put policemen on the front gates of the school, or we'll arm the teachers. We'll teach the teachers how to kill the students that they teach. Yeah, because that's not going to fuck with them mentally. That's a great bloody idea. Or we're going to, ramp up security. Have policemen literally stationed and walking the grounds of the school. Walking the hallways of the school. Suddenly, for some reason, schools are starting to sound an awful lot like prisons. And the one reason, the one excuse, the one argument that I absolutely hate the most that is coming from the right at the moment is that, well, guns aren't the problem. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. It's not a gun problem, it's a mental health problem. It's not a, they have access to them and responsible gun owners know to do this. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because every single one of those same right-leaning Republicans, every single one of them, every single congressman, every single Senate member, every single lawmaker, every governor, all of those people who are saying that exact same thing, that it's not a gun problem. Those are the same people who will vote no on a red flag bill, on expanding background checks, on making them stricter, closing the gun show loophole. They all vote no on all of those. So you say that it's a mental health problem, and we say, okay, let's address the mental health. Let's make sure that there is red flag laws in place so that this doesn't fucking happen. Let's make sure that there are adequate background checks. Let's make them stricter. Let's make them recurring. Let's make them much like you have a car. You have a car license. You need to do a theory test. You need to do a practical test. You need to do this. I've seen some people. I don't 100% agree with it, but I've seen some people who have said, well, let's make it the exact same way that we treat women when they want an abortion. Make them get a signed note from their doctor. Make them watch a video about gun violence. Make them watch all of these things, because we have the steps in place before you get to the end result on so many other things. Why not guns? Oh, because it's in your Second Amendment, and you can't change the Constitution cannot be changed. Of course it fucking can. It's called an amendment. And also, I don't know if this is quite news to you, and it's kind of sad if it is, because I'm Irish and you're American if you're getting offended by this, but the US Constitution, as it currently stands, wasn't written that way originally in 1776. You've added stuff to your Constitution since it was ratified. So clearly you can change the Constitution, or you can add to the Constitution. Your Constitution is not special. It's not amazing. It's not infallible. It's not all-powerful. It's a document. And documents are flawed. And the proper patriotism and proper civic duty is to do the best to make sure that your country is the best that it can possibly be. And that means changing it to make your society better and to make it safer. That is true patriotism. Because the Irish Constitution was signed in, 1916, 1920? First couple of drafts maybe there in the lead up to our independence properly. We've changed it. We've added amendments. We've taken amendments out. We've done all that sort of stuff. Doesn't mean that I'm not patriotic. It doesn't mean that I don't love my country. It just means that I want to make it better. And all this talk about, as Savage has just said, it's a living document. It's supposed to be amended. It's supposed to be changed. That's what the founders of the US said. So why are you standing on their words? That's just school shooters in general. That's just school shootings in general and my thoughts on guns in general. But this is not an in general case. Let's just get that fucking clear. This is not an in general case. Now, I understand that this shooting was in Georgia, who are the people who put Marjorie Taylor Greene into Congress twice. Maybe I should get back into fucking debating religion, because that right there is proof that a God does not exist. But, so this child, I will not say his name. I don't want to say his name. I don't care what his name is. But this child, at 13 last year, posted some, let's say problematic stuff onto Discord and presumably probably somewhere else, some other online forum somewhere, somehow. And the FBI raided his home. And when his dad came to the door and he explained the whole situation, he said, "I'm very sorry to have to tell you this, but your 13-year-old child is a suspected, possible, future school shooter." And the dad obviously didn't take any fucking heed of this, because only a few short months later, Christmas just gone, he bought him an AR-15. So you think about, like, just the passage of time and what exactly fucking happened. Your house gets raided by the FBI. You are told that your child is a potential school shooter because he has posted seriously problematic things online. So much so that the fucking FBI had to get involved. And only a few short months later, you buy your child a gun. What in the name of fucking Christ are you giving a 14-year-old kid a gun for? What are you doing? And secondly, if there is any fucking clue that maybe you shouldn't be doing that, it's the fact that the FBI raided your fucking home and warned you about this. We're a week, 10 days, 2 weeks maximum, but 10 days probably into this school year. And already there's a school shooting by a 14-year-old kid. And I don't care if he was bullied. I don't give a fuck if he was bullied. I was fucking bullied in secondary school. High school and would be the equivalent. I was bullied. There are how many millions of kids in the US who are bullied? None of them go on to shoot up a school. Well, sorry, no, not none. But all of them don't go on to shoot up a school. The vast majority of them don't go on to shoot up school. The only, and I genuinely mean this, the only saving grace to this is that the dad is currently in court, or well, not currently in court. His sentencing is not actually, or his court dates and all his sentencing and stuff like that is not actually until December. But he was in court afterwards, and he was basically kind of read the charges that he is faced with, that he will be in court on. And he is facing up to 180 years in prison, and I say fucking throw him in there. Because the fucking mistakes that you made in raising your son, ignoring, because that's has to be what you did when the FBI came to your door, and then buying a child a weapon designed to kill people fast. All of those were a series of mistakes, starting with the fact that you didn't pull out. That was your first one. But all of the... I genuinely hope that he goes, that he is sentenced for the full 180 years that he is facing. How fucking stupid do you have to be? Again, I know we're talking about the state that put Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress twice. But how on earth are you that fucking dense? This is genuinely fucking horrific. And honestly, you know, with Kamala's record as a prosecutor and who she is and how she is and stuff like that, with her stance on gun violence, you know, she like at a minimum wants to expand background checks and wants to expand, you know, wants to like maybe kind of talk about introducing red flag laws and all this sort. She is going down the right fucking path anyway. And then you look at Donald Trump and his record on it. And sure, he said some things. He said some things that I actually, dare I say, even fucking agreed with. Because what he said was, we're just going to take the guns and we'll deal with the problem later. I actually fucking agreed with that. Yeah, do. Take him. But he didn't take him, though, did he? He didn't take him. Because he was told that if he did take him, that he was going to lose support of the NRA, and he was going to lose support generally, and then he wasn't going to get re-elected, and so he pussyfooted off of that, and he didn't fucking do it. But we already know what his record on it is, though. He brags about getting the endorsement of the NRA. And then his running mate, as we so eloquently seen, said that it's just a fact of life. It's sad, but it's a fact of life. The fact of life in one fucking country, man. And it's what Kamala said when she was on the platform doing a rally. Doesn't have to be this way. You know, it doesn't have to be like this. There's one country, one, that suffers from this issue or that is dealing with this issue. One. Only one. There is not gun deaths, there is not school shootings, there is not anything that the US is currently dealing with as a problem that relates to guns. There is not a single other country on this planet that is dealing with them at even nearly the same rate. I'm not saying that any of these other countries, I mean, like, I know an awful lot of people like to talk about Australia and Japan and stuff like that, where they have seriously fucking strict gun laws. And they do. And they work. That's the problem. They work. I'm not saying that there is absolutely no shootings over there or anything else like that. That would be ridiculous to say. However, if it's like five, it's a problem that maybe kind of needs to be looked at. I'm fairly sure in the last 2 days there's been 5 mass shootings in the US. The problem that you guys have with your guns is, I mean, it is unprecedented. It's unprecedented. And, you know, Vance went on to talk about there's these responsible gun owners and everything else like that. As Savage just said, yeah, it's every day. Every day there is a mass shooting in the US. When are you going to admit it's a problem? I can see clear as fucking day it's a problem, man. Clear as day it's a problem. And you have JD Vance and a bunch of other fucking people, your notable names. Think of like a conservative pundit or talk or YouTuber, podcaster, whoever, and it doesn't matter who you think of. You can hear them all now in your head saying, "Let's give them thoughts and prayers. Too early to make this a political issue. Let's not talk about policy. Let's give the families time to grieve." Okay, fair. All right, okay, sure. We'll give them time. So we're not going to talk about policy today. Okay, fine. We'll give them one day. Can we talk about it tomorrow? Nope, that's too soon. We can't talk about it tomorrow. We need to give the families time to grieve. Okay, so we can't talk about it today. We can't talk about it tomorrow. Can we talk about it the day after? No. That's still too soon. We can't talk about it then because we can't make this we can't shove policy into this. It's not right. It's not fair on the families. Okay, can we talk about it the day after that? Then no. There's been 5 new shootings that we need to give thoughts and prayers on now. If it's not now and it's not tomorrow and it's not the day after that, if that's not an appropriate time to talk about implementing policy on this, when is an appropriate time? When is an appropriate time? Is it a week, 2 weeks, a month? I would much rather live in a potential US that is going to wait a month before doing anything and then eventually get something done than to wait a week. And as again, Jesus Christ, it's like she's my fucking cheerleader. I love you at this moment, Savage. In a week, it's old news. And we're on to something else. Because you don't care then. Because it's a week later. And it's, yeah, that was sad. But, we're after moving on now. And again, there's another 5 fucking mass shootings after happening in the last 12 hours. So we need to talk about those. And we need to give thoughts and prayers on those. When is an appropriate time to start talking about policy? Because the US, look, I understand that very few US citizens have a passport because, you can fly internally and you don't need a passport because you're not passing port. But, and like the US is diverse enough that you can just go to a different state and it's not a problem that you can, you know what I mean? That like you can just, that you're seeing almost like a completely different country. You don't need to go to a different country, hypothetically. You can stay within the US and still get a very nice holiday and everything else, and you're seeing completely different new culture and new people and new attitudes and new whatever. I understand that you can do that in the US. But I mean, genuinely, it's like, what in the name of Christ are we doing, man? When is the proper time to talk about this stuff? Because it's going to get to a point where people are going to go into all you need is one candidate. Is just one candidate who is going to say, we need to seriously do something about this. give some sort of an indication about what they are going to do about gun violence. And I promise you, if you don't do something about gun violence now, all of those right-wing fucking fucktards who are saying thoughts and prayers and we can't talk about policy, those people who have been directly affected by this, or who know somebody who their child was killed in a school shooting, or they know somebody whose friend was a teacher who was killed in a school shooting, they're going to go in and they're going to have that in their memory, and they're going to bring that memory with them to the voting booth. All you need is one candidate. So if Kamala, if she's serious about this, outline your plan. Outline your plan. I guarantee you she's going to soar even more. Shit has to fucking end, man. It just has to end, because as I'm tired of saying, it's a US problem. It's not a worldwide problem. It's just a US problem. You need to really reinvest and relearn the meaning of patriotism, because it's not just about loving your country no matter what the fuck it does. That's not patriotism. That's not that's not loving your country. Loving your country and true patriotism is about recognizing the flaws within it, and then banding together, going into a voting booth and actively making a change, or making it so too that you are at least doing something rather than nothing at all. It's gonna have to change, man, because this just can't keep going on. It just simply cannot keep happening. I'm sorry that this week's stream was a little bit kind of dark. Because every topic that I talked about wasn't exactly fucking cheerful. But you know, sometimes unfortunately that's just what happens this week. That's what happens in the week. There's nothing really kind of cheerful to talk about. But you know, it's the 7th of September as I am currently recording this. Next week we are going to have the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. I am sure that that's going to be very entertaining. So we will definitely be having some clips and some stuff like that to react to for next week. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, yeah, let's just collectively take a breather. But yeah, no, look, thank you to everybody who showed up, who was going to watch, who will watch it. Savage, absolute savage, as you are. Thank you for showing up, and you know, for commenting along genuinely. You know, look, at like, it's very, very easy for me to kind of talk about it from my outside perspective and stuff like that, but you're living in the country, you're there, you're, you know, experiencing this, you're surrounded by this, you're surrounded by the attitudes and by the people who will say, no, we can't do anything about this problem. So it's very, very interesting to get your kind of perspective on this and stuff like that. But yeah, genuinely can't wait until next week's stream, because that's going to be really, really good. We're going to be looking at the debate and stuff like that. But yes, no, look, like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTuber bollocks, and I shall talk to you in the next one.
Vance responding. Instead of addressing her own failures, she lies about what I said. Harris's running mate Tim Walz also on the attack, calling